All right, guys, we are back, and this is a very special episode for, I don't know, for many reasons. It's episode 300 for one. Never thought I'd make it to 300. I started this back in June of 2020, and we are here. We're still doing this, and there was always one guest that I wanted to get on the podcast, not just because she's my grandmother, not just because she's somebody I love and care about, but she's also been through a lot, and she, obviously she's family, and she's somebody who, she's the definition of like resilience, and she's overcome a lot, as have I, and I always wanted to just kind of interview her one day because she has a story just like everybody else I've had on the show, but I know her story more than most because, well, she's my grandmother. I've known her for 30-some years, and yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have her on. So, Grandma, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm his grandmother, and he's forcing me to do this, so can I consider that elderly abuse?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay,
go ahead and ask me whatever questions you need.
Well, for the record, you were born in, 1932, so you'll be 94 in May, right?
Oh, yeah.
So can you, and you can go on as long as you want, but can you kind of talk about, like, your childhood, what it was like growing up when you were young?
Oh, okay. I thought this was going to be more about the disability part with Pop-Up, but if you want to start there, I will.
No, I want them to know more about you first, and then we'll get to
Oh, okay. Okay, well, first, I was born in Du Bois Town, Pennsylvania, and it was before the big 36 flood hit. So we were in the 36 flood. And then my dad said he was heading for higher places, so he bought a piece of ground up in Bastress, and he built this, I guess you could call it a house, but it wasn't much of a house, enough for us to live in. And he was a working man. He worked really hard at Armor Leather and did everything himself, and only would do things for the house as he got enough money. So through all that, I ended up with 6 brothers and sisters. So we never had much of a house at all to live in, but we were happy and had a good life, and he was able to provide for us and everything. So I guess that was all necessary because I never really envied anybody, but we were raised dirt poor. So anyway, graduated from high school in Jersey Shore, and when I got out of there, I went to work at a bank in Jersey Shore for 8 years. And in the meantime, I had gotten married and had 2 little ones. And I only went in there for a little while so we could buy a house. Well, that little while ended up for 37 years. Mm-hmm. But it was a good income and provided us well. So anyway, that's mainly the story, and I worked there till I retired at 65.
Right. And you had a can you talk about like the bathroom situation that you had at your house?
Oh, we had an outhouse. Actually, we never had a bathroom till after I got married, so I was never in a bathtub till after I got married. But we all had our sponge baths, and when you have 7, you don't worry about how many baths you take. So every Saturday night, we all got our sponge bath to get ready for church, which we went every Sunday. And with my mother, my dad didn't go to church, but he took us and picked us up because my mother didn't drive. Right. And so anyway, I guess I don't know where I was going to go from there.
Okay. But so like when you were young, like, what was it like being like a woman? Because I know like there's a period of time where women couldn't vote. I don't know if I think that was after you were born, but like what I know, like working and everything, like a lot of with women.
Oh, working was a no-no for women. Yeah. My mother was completely against women. They should stay home with their family, and the husband provided. So I don't think she was too happy when I got a job.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, she was raised really, really strict with an abusive father and everything. So, and we were raised really strict, which I'm glad now.
Yeah.
It really paid off. I felt I ended up a decent person.
You did, Grandma. You did. Everyone loves you, including me.
Well, I don't know about that. I wouldn't go along with that.
Well, all the people that I know love you. So those are the only ones that matter.
That's right.
They're the only ones that matter. And as you always like to tell me, as long as you like you, that's all that matters.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's exactly right. Okay.
And I said, as long as I like me is all I care. I don't care if anybody likes me anymore. That goes with age. When you're young, you feel, you want everybody to like you. Now I don't really care if anybody likes me as long as I like myself.
Absolutely. So when in your life did you meet Pop-Up?
After I got out of high school, I got that job at the bank, which was supposed to be a temporary job because the girl that had the job got polio. That was in the real bad polio season. Uh-huh. And they needed somebody to fill in with her for a couple months till she got back. In the meantime, she died of the polio, and I ended up with that job for 8 years until I got married, like I said. But then it was hard finding transportation from Bastrop over to Jersey Shore. And I was lucky I did find a woman that worked over in Jersey Shore, so I was able to get a ride from her until I got enough money together to buy my first car. And it was I'm not sure what it was now. I think it was a 1941 Chevy. Okay. And I had gone to my dad. They didn't believe in women driving at that time either. But I went to my dad and I said, if I could buy a car, would you teach me to drive? Oh, I asked him first if he would teach me to drive. He said, no, I need my car for work. And he said, I can't take a chance. So I said, well, if I can buy a car, will you teach me? He said, yes. So anyway, I got the car, and he signed for my first loan at the bank and bought my first car.
You remember how much it cost?
I remember my first, pardon?
Do you remember how much the car cost?
No, I have no idea now.
But it was
probably $200.
$200, right, yeah.
But the one big thing I remember about my driving lessons with him, the girl that I rode with to work, she lived probably about 5 miles from me. So I had to find a way down to her house in the morning and a way back from her house to mine. And my brother was kind enough. In the morning, he worked at Hall's Motor, and he worked third shift. So he would come home from work in the morning, and he would run me down to their house, and then my dad would come pick me up every day when I got home from Jersey Shore to her house. So I had that way, so I'm sure they were happy when I got a car because I was really putting them out too. And so anyway, then I got my car, and that's when I started to go places because we couldn't go anywhere when we didn't have a car. Uh-huh. You know, I mean, we were stuck there. I think that's why I got into crafts so big, because we had to learn how to entertain ourselves.
Right.
And anyway, then we start going to dances. I had two sisters that were each one was 1 year younger, 2 year younger. So we were out going to dances and things by ourselves. Like that, because we couldn't go before. And we also had big dances over at the Bastrop Church, different times, square dances, and we would go over there, and the boys from Williamsport would come up and meet us. But the way I met Pop-Up was when we came down to these places to dance, and I'm sure the older people remember, it's called Handy Haven, and everybody would meet everybody there. And then we would go down on 4th Street. There was a little restaurant diner type thing called the Coffee Pot, and that's where everybody went. They didn't go for drinks at that time. They went for Cokes or coffee. So that's where I met him, and that's how he asked me to go out, and that's where it started.
How long did it take you guys to eventually get married?
We had our first date in February, and we got married in August.
Wow, pretty cool.
So 6 whole months.
Wow.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. August was the engagement.
Okay.
He gave me a diamond in August, and then we got married the following February.
Okay. All right, but still a year. But you got engaged, whatever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's pretty quick.
Well, at that time, I was almost 21. I was like just a few months from being 21. And at that time, if you weren't married by the time you were 21, you were considered an old maid.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Which now it's considered too young to marry.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. When did you guys get the house that you're living in currently?
The one now,
Yeah.
Our first year we got married, we had a little 3-bedroom, second-floor apartment over in South Williamsport. And then we went from there to Newberry, where we rented half a double in Newberry. And then from there, we got this chance to buy a house, an old house in Newberry. And that was through Aunt Cardine. One of her relatives was selling it, and we got a good buy. So we bought that house, and we lived there, I think, 10 years. And we wanted to better ourselves, so we looked about trying to buy a nicer place and everything. But it was just as easy to have a house built. Not as easy, but just as far as price-wise. And so we decided then if we could build a house, we would have one built. So, of course, I was still up with the bank there. When I had Ron, I went back to work. But then when I had your mom, I decided I was staying home, so I didn't work anymore after that. But I was still in good with the bank. They'd call me in now and then when they needed a person a day or something like that. So we went to them and they asked for a loan. They said, yes, whatever you want to do, you can either buy or build. And so they loaned us the money to build the house, and we had that built and sold the one in Newberry, and that was in 1967. So I've been up here 8 years probably.
Do you remember how much the house cost?
The one in Newberry was $7,500.
What about the one you're in now?
The one we're in now, I do remember, we paid 18 something for the house built with everything, and then we paid, I think, $2,300 for the lot. So no, $2,100 for the lot. So house built, lot, everything came to like $23,000, which now it's probably worth over $200,000. So it was really a great investment.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't even find a house under $100,000.
Oh no, and even now in the 200 range isn't that much of a house, smaller type.
Yeah, and well, it also depends on where you live too.
Yeah.
When did you guys start like traveling? Because you guys pretty much, she has like plates from like everywhere she traveled, all over her kitchen. So like when did the traveling start?
For our 25th wedding anniversary, I decided ahead of time to start saving money to surprise Pop-Up with a cruise.
Okay.
And he swore up and down he would never get on a boat because he was in Korea and he was sick all the way over. So he said he was never getting on a boat again. But I talked him into just a 3-day cruise. So anyway, what I did, I booked a 3-day cruise from, I think it was Miami to the Caribbean. And we were there 3 days, and then we came back and landed in Miami, and we rented a car and traveled down through Florida. So and stayed, I think it was a week or more that we stayed there and then flew back home. So after that, I decided any overtime I could work, I would put it away so we could travel, take one trip a year. So that's how our trips all started. And then we traveled to, we became disabled and couldn't go anymore.
Right. Can you, like a rough estimate, can you like think of how many places you went to? Like a rough estimate, not like an actual number.
Oh, I'd have to go look because I wrote down where we went and what year, and I still have that paper.
That's okay. But do you think you traveled at least 50 places?
Oh, no, not that many, no. Okay. No, because when we did, we took nice trips, like, okay. I'll name a few. We were to Holland, we were to Spain, and then we hit a couple extra countries like Belgium and Morocco when we were over there. We have been to Hawaii twice, Jamaica, Aruba, St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands. That's just to name a few. Canada a couple times.
So at least around 20, 25.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's okay. I might be, my recollection may be off, but is the year that I got sick, is that the same year he got sick?
No, that was the year he went into the wheelchair.
Into the wheelchair. Oh, okay. Gotcha. What year did
and
he
my
get sick?
mother died, and Uncle Earl died, all within that same year, and Aunt Mary Ann. Yeah. So it was a terrible, terrible year.
So what year did he get sick? And he had MS, which is multiple sclerosis.
That's another story altogether. When he was in his late 40s, he came down with these terrible headaches, and so we started doctoring to neurologists and all that. Well, of course, they couldn't find out what was wrong, so they said, oh, it's migraine, they thought, because they couldn't find anything else. And then they put him on, I don't know, I wish I would know now what the name of the medicine was. They said it was a blood pressure medication, but it had been helping some people with migraine. So they put him on that. His headaches went away and never came back. And then I don't remember what happened a few years in between that he started doctoring again with the doctor and with his family doctor. He said, I'm going to have to send you back to a neurologist again because whatever it was doing, I don't remember what reason it was. Because at that time he was driving and going to doctors alone and everything. Right. So anyway, Pop-Up said, don't send me that quack you sent me to before. He couldn't find out what was wrong with me. Mm-hmm. That made the doctor laugh. But he said, I was kind of hoping you'd say something like that. So anyway, he sent us, there was another neurologist came to town, and so we went to him, and they ran all kinds of tests, but he really, really tried to find out what was wrong. And in the meantime, I don't remember, Pop-Up kept going downhill, but I don't remember in what way. And so then they decided they would send him to a psychologist for evaluation. And I remember they sent him there. And this timeline, I'm kind of mixed up what went first. Okay. But they sent him there, and that neurologist, I went with him to get the answer from all the testing then. And anyway, this neurologist, not neurologist, I'm sorry, the psychologist, said, he more or less came right out and said that he had Alzheimer's. And he said, if you want to do any traveling, do it now. You probably won't be able to next year. Well, that was upsetting. And then he had to make another visit back, and I don't remember the timeline there. And when he went back for a visit after that, the neurologist said, well, no, he said, I was wrong. And he said, I watched you when you come in here and when you leave. He said, you know exactly where your car is. You're dressed perfectly. Everything matches. He said, you don't have it. Well, then that was, I think, the year of our 30th wedding anniversary. So we decided we were going to take a trip that year then, since he had said our traveling was going to be over. So we booked a trip to Hawaii, and it was a bad trip. It took us 24 hours to get there with delays and all that. And what I didn't know till on the way home, I guess after we got home, we had a big 8-hour layover in St. Louis, and here he had been bleeding the whole time we were in St. Louis, and he never told me. So when he got home, or on the way home, he told me about it. And I said, why didn't you say anything? He said, well, I didn't want to spoil your trip. So he got home and he called the doctor. And the doctor sent him to a urologist within a day or two. And they think what happened, because the bleeding stopped, they think it was a kidney stone and he passed it. But when he came out from seeing the urologist, as he was coming out, I guess, through the waiting room, because he had gone alone, I was still working then, and as he came out, he started feeling this funny feeling at the top of the head, and it went all down the right side. All of it was gone numb, his whole right side. So instead of going back and telling the doctor, he got in the car and drove home all by himself like that. So when I came home that day, I came in and I said, well, how'd you make out? He said, well, I made out good there, but he said, there's something else wrong with me. Then he told me about his right side all being numb. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I said, you're getting to the hospital. No, I'll be all right. And in the meantime, his boss from where he worked stopped in to bring him his paycheck because he had been on vacation and didn't get it. So when he came in, I told his boss about it. He said, Harry, you're going to the hospital. So he helped me get him in the car. And that's where he ended up in the hospital. And I think he was in at least 5-6 days, maybe more. and they diagnosed him as a stroke. And he was able, a lot of the feeling came back, not all of it, a lot of it, Letty. He was able, I think he drove a little after that. Yes, he did, because he even went back to work. I don't remember how long he was off, because that's 20-some years ago. And so he did get back to work, but he kept losing more and more feeling. And then they started sending us all over. We were to Geisinger, 3 days of testing. We were to Robert Packer, and our last one was down to Hershey. And the doctor at Geisinger was really great in trying to find out what was wrong. And they kind of suspected he had symptoms of MS, but they said he wasn't a true patient, like this, like they get a lot younger and all that. Because at that time, I think he was like 55 or something like that. Yeah. And so anyway, that's where we went from there. And then he just kept getting work. The doctor at Geisinger told him he had to go on disability. Well, he didn't want to, but his job he was working at was a welder, as you know, up at High Steel with the big bridge girders.
Yep.
And it was too dangerous for him to be around there. And when he went back to work from when they said he had a stroke, he had wonderful guys up there that helped him all they could, or he wouldn't have even made it as long as he did. So he ended up, he had to go on disability, and then he was still driving when he came home a little bit, not much, but he was able to drive, but he kept losing feeling that he couldn't feel how hard he would press down on the gas pedal. Yeah. So he gave up his driver's license, and then he went from the cane to the walker to the wheelchair. So anyway, it started going, once he started getting worse, it went real fast.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the main story about him.
Yeah. How long were you kind of his personal caregiver? Because he died in, what was it, 2003, but he was in a nursing home for a while.
Well, he got so where like he couldn't bath himself or dress himself or anything like that. And I'd say, oh my goodness. I know he started with this, I'm trying to think. Probably, I know he had it all together 14 years. And as far as a complete caregiver, that must have been at least 10, maybe more.
Yeah.
Not sure, because it creeps up on you and just keep adding a little more to your schedule every day.
Well, what makes it so awesome for, obviously, I mean, it's one thing to take care of a person, but it's also another, like, you're a very tiny woman, and he was not a small man.
I know that was the hard part, and I didn't realize that how much easier it is to push a smaller man around in a wheelchair until he ended up in a nursing home, as you know, for almost 2 years, and because I couldn't get him in bed or anything anymore. Right. And different times when I was leaving out there, they were taking people down to the lunch for their supper. I would say, I'll push somebody down while I'm going out. Well, I get these little men, and I think, wow, that's like pushing air compared to him.
Yeah, I bet. Did you know much about MS before he was diagnosed?
I knew nothing about it. Of course, as we went, and I wished I would have had computers and things to look things up then like I do now. But maybe it's better I didn't, because every time I look something up for myself, now if I have a little thing wrong, I think I'm dying.
Yeah, it gives you more depression. Yeah.
But no, I didn't. But I learned that it comes from like electrical components in your brain. Yeah. And he ended up with 6 MRIs through all this. And he had every time he had a spell, it would leave a lesion on his brain. Uh-huh. And the last MRI that they had taken, he had 13 lesions by then. So that was, what was keeping him from a lot of the mobility and everything.
Yeah, and he had like a hospital bed. He had one of those chairs you could push a button and it raises him up. And he was basically...
Oh, he wouldn't have been able to be at home as long as he was if it wouldn't have been for that lift chair.
Yeah,
but he couldn't. Well, we also had. I live in a split level, and he could not get up the steps anymore. There's only like 6 steps between, but he couldn't do steps at all. So I didn't know what we were going to do. We couldn't live here like that, and I would think of it every day. And I thought, well, in our lower level is a TV room and a bathroom, half a bath, and the front door comes in there. And I thought maybe we could add a room on where our patio is. From our TV room, there's glass sliding doors went out onto a patio. So I had a guy come in, and he said, "Oh, yeah, we can make a bedroom down here." So we had a bedroom put on downstairs, but he wasn't able to come up in any other parts of the house. But the only problem there, we did not have room to put a shower in down there. So from a time that he was forced to live down the lower level, he had to have sponge baths every day. And I thought, oh, I had sponge baths for 20-some years, so going back to the old days.
Yeah.
But he was so fortunate, too, that he was able to get in with the senior citizens in Newberry.
Mm.
And they would, Step would come and get him 3 days a week and take him in his wheelchair and bring him back. Well, it got so then, instead of them bringing him back in the afternoon, I would come around from work and pick him up and bring him home every afternoon then. But he went 3 days a week until he went to the nursing home. And after they got him stabilized there, he wanted to go back so far because he made so many friends over there. The place where he went for senior citizens was actually where he went to grade school. So he met a lot of people, over there that he knew and everything, and he was happy over there. And, of course, the women all made a big fuss over him, and he liked that. Yeah. So anyway, when he got to Sycamore, he wanted back so bad. So here we ended up, he was able to go 1 day a week, and Step would go down and get him and take him every Friday. And then I would go over, or I would follow him down, and then I would go down and help him get him out down at Sycamore and for the day or for the rest of the night. So he got to go out up until a couple of weeks before he died. He got to go over at Senior Citizens.
Yeah, I don't know how you felt about it, but I think we were all kind of happy once he finally passed. I think we were only happy from the standpoint of fact that he didn't have to suffer anymore, because he was suffering for, it seemed like
oh
a
yeah
long time.
Yeah, actually, he didn't have pain suffering.
Right.
It was just sitting. I mean, when he got up in the morning, he sat in that wheelchair till he went to bed at night.
Yeah.
But then he was spoiled. I started going out every day, which probably wasn't that good an idea. But anyway, and then he stopped going down to the dining room, because when you go to the dining rooms in places like that, there's always somebody sick and with colds.
Yeah.
So once he got a cold, he said, I'm not going back down there. So he started having his food delivered to his room, but, he was kind of snoopy in some ways. So I said, I'll bring a meal out. So I took a meal out. Well, after that, it became my duty. Every day I took his supper out. But it was a small sacrifice to make him happy anyway.
Yeah.
And I had to make stuff for myself, so, it was just, and then I would stay till I had his supper over with and get him ready for bed and then come home.
Yeah. What was that like after?
But,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, but the only thing there, I am so fortunate that I have such great health, because if I didn't have the health I had, I wouldn't have been able to do near half of the stuff that I did for him. So, I was really lucky that way.
Well, yeah, and you're lucky in many ways, because after he passed, you eventually had a heart attack and got hit by a van in, I don't know, what was it, like a 5-year span?
Oh, my goodness. He died in '03, and 2 weeks after that, I started before he died. And anyway, then I finally went to the doctor, and he died in May, and in August, I had to go in and have part of my intestines removed. And then they don't know what happened with that. That wouldn't heal up. And so I ended up with a colostomy bag for 4 months, and I was able to go in and get that reversed. But whatever problem I have, it didn't go away, and I never healed up inside till almost a year, and they never could figure out why. So that was in '03. In '04, I walked every day to try to keep my health up, and I was hit by a van and ended up with 3 fractures. So that was 1 year later, and I got over all them. And then in '09, I had a heart attack, and everything was in my 70s. From my early 70s until I think I was 77 when I had my heart attack. And then when I hit 80, my health came back again.
Yeah. No,
so my 80s were great compared to my 70s, but no, it was like everything at one time.
You want to tell the people why you claim that you had your heart attack? You remember?
Oh, yeah, because I ate too many McDonald's meals to get the toy for you.
Yeah,
Pokemon toys.
Yeah, so you did.
And it built my cholesterol up.
Yeah.
Do you feel guilty?
No, because we didn't tell you to do it.
Oh, okay.
We're
You're
happy
just trying to
still
console
here.
yourself.
No, I just want people to know why you say you did. Yeah.
That you caused my heart attack.
Yes, apparently, allegedly. But I wanted people to know that because you said that you have good health, but you didn't have good health for a good 10 years where you were pretty up and down. I mean, even the when you got hit by the van, then they told you that you probably wouldn't walk the same and you would have a colostomy bag.
I know. But I always had the feeling going through all this. I never had the feeling I wouldn't get over it. I had the feeling I wonder how long it's going to take me to get over it, which was good at that time. Probably now I would think the other way.
Well, and you see people.
Since you say I'm so negative.
Yes, absolutely. But you see people your age. Obviously, we know Norma, but you know more people now that are dead than alive, pretty much. And
I know.
And the people that you do still know and you still go out and hang out with, they're younger than you, and they're not anywhere near the shape that you're in.
Or they're with walkers or stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Or they're just, they just, everything is just off. I mean, I always bring you and Norma up as an example because you and Norma are literally the same age by, a week?
Yeah, only 5 days apart, and there she's homebound.
And she's homebound. I mean,
plus her mind is really bad.
Yeah, and you've seen what, people who are become senior citizens, if we get old, it's like, obviously getting old back in when you were born, getting old was like 50-something, but now 90s.
I know. But the only thing worries me, how I worry about everything, my mother died at 94. Guess what age I'm going to be in May?
94. You're going to be just fine.
Well, I'm in better shape at 94. She had fallen when she was 90 and broke her hip. And she got out of it good, but, she walked the rest of her time with a walker and everything, but she couldn't do housework hardly or anything after that, a little bit. But then when she was 94, she fell again, and she broke her pelvis, and then she only lived 2 weeks after that. So her problem was a lot with falling that caused all her things. But then they said she may have had other problems that caused her to fall, too.
Yeah, and yeah. So, obviously the good health is probably the secret to why you're so healthy, but you never really drank or smoked or anything, right?
No.
That's
never had any desire to do it, so I thought, why do it if I don't really want to?
Well, you're the blueprint for me because I don't do any of that stuff, and
I know. That's why I said I'm really proud of you too.
Yeah,
in every way.
Well, thank you, and but I saw what it did to my dad. I saw what it did to obviously Uncle Bill, and alcohol specifically.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
That's why Ron told me he never started smoking. Ron is my son, for anybody that doesn't know. Anyway, he never smoked because I told him all the money he was wasting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Mommy never really, she dibble-dabbled and stuff, but she never really, she drinks every now and then, but she's not, she's not an alcoholic.
Yeah, I ended up raising 2 good kids.
Yeah, we're all right. We're doing all right. When you kind of look back on your life now, like, you're 94, like, how do you look at it as like a successful, like a good life?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I had a good marriage, and like I said, we were poor as church mice when I was raised, but we didn't miss it because we never had it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why I always want to go shopping all the time now. Maybe. Not anymore. I don't have anything left to buy anymore now.
Yeah, you kind of have everything.
Now I have to. My big problem is trying to get rid of things.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. She's a lot like me when it comes to buying stuff, except she just buys cheaper things than me. I buy much more expensive stuff, so she stresses out.
I know you're throwing your money away. Now I have to try to get that in your head.
Oh, grandmother, we're gonna be just fine, Grandma.
Like you don't need 100 pair of shoes. You only need a good pair and an old pair.
I don't, but look how many jackets you have and jewelry and all the things that you don't need it either. It's just, but you only,
but you notice I don't buy any clothes anymore because I don't go anywhere to wear them.
Yeah, not really. But you only live once. You gotta try to live.
Well, I'm happy.
Well, yeah, but
I think I am.
But that's the thing. I'm happy too. So we just got to be happy with what
Well,
we're
that's all
happy
that
with.
matters to me if you're happy.
There you go. And vice versa. So yes. I know I was going to ask you something. Oh, darn it. Anyway, but no, I mean, it's how many people can you say, made it to 94 and not only made it to 94 is healthy and doing so well. And, oh, I know what I was going to ask you. Like, now that you're going to be 94, like, how do you, like, what gets you up every day? Like, do you still look forward to getting up every day and looking forward to life because you've seen so much, but like life, after a while, life kind of just goes on and you just kind of feel like every day is the same sometimes. But what kind of...
Well, I don't really feel that way.
Okay.
I just feel like, well, what am I going to do today? But like I said, I have been lucky that I have things to keep me entertained, like with my needlework and all that, crocheting and all that.
Yeah. And
so, if I didn't have that, well, I'd probably be bored to death. But it's like I don't hardly ever get that bored. I just start doing something when I do, or take a nap.
Or watch the Game Show Network.
Oh, yeah. I'll be watching it tonight, probably. Nothing on.
There you go. Well, Grandma, see, this was harmless. You made it through it.
How long was I on?
Well, we're still on, but it's a little over. It's about going about 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did good, but I knew you were kind of nervous about it, but I told you it'd be just fine. I appreciate it.
No, I just didn't want to do it. You forced me into it.
Yeah, I know. I even got other people to tell her that she should do it. So, because Megan and other people were telling you should do it. I think Penny told you should do it. Mommy told you, but I'm glad you did it because, like I said, it's something I get to have for.
I'm glad it's over with.
Yeah, but we'll wrap up. But thank you. I really, I love and appreciate you. So thank you for coming on.
I know you do. I can feel it.
Don't hang up. We're just gonna wrap up. But
okay.
But thank you for coming on, Grandma.
Okay. See you tomorrow morning.
Wait, nope. Don't hang up. I'm just gonna end. I'm stopping the recording.